gentlemen, let's get this started. Welcome, Lions. Every single week, gentlemen, every single week, we come together because of three simple words: brotherhood, blessings, and breakthroughs. The brotherhood between men. The only time you look down at another man is when you're picking him back up. The blessings from above, and the King himself. And of course, our breakthroughs. The breakthroughs are maybe something I say tonight, maybe something another lion says, but be open, receptive to those breakthroughs, and be bold and fucking courageous enough to put up your hand, share your story, share your wisdom, share your experience as well too, because we're going to get to some of that. But before I do, I just want to always preset this with last week, because last week we had a very, very amazing conversation that I got some incredible feedback from. And it was really I think what people loved the most about last week, just judging by the feedback, was the tactfulness, because we talked a lot about thoughts. We talked a lot about emotions. We talked a lot about how men have to deal with thoughts and emotions, but we really truly broke down on, are you in control of your thought or not in control? Like, is the experience in control or not in control? And being able to distinguish, am I in control or am I not? Because sometimes we go through bullshit, especially us men. We're dealing with all this bullshit, but we don't know how to fucking emotionalize it. We're just like, rub some dirt in it, shut the fuck up, let's just move on. Because that's all we're designed to do. We don't want to actually open it up and be like, I'm feeling emotional right now. Not in our culture. It's not how we were raised. So when we understand that and we start to put that into principles, it's like, well, what can I control and what can't I control? And that was a really, really good topic that I got feedback. That's why I want to continue and dig a little bit deeper today. Digging a little bit deeper on the lion mindset versus the sheep mindset. And funny enough, I'm going to throw you guys for a curveball right now. You ready for this? Let's talk about some sheep. Let's talk about sheep. Remember we talked about Pareto's principle? But let's talk about sheep mentality. Because I can sit here and I can preach lion mentality all day. I can tell you about uncaging your roar. I can tell you about how we be owning our worth and optimizing our life. I can tell you about all that. But let's just break this down to the sheep mentality. Now, before I begin, I was earlier downstairs and I was sitting there, and I usually go to the bar and I sit there, and I had a little clam chowder today. I was just sitting there relaxing, and I was writing outlines and outline. And I was just thinking to myself, I was like, you know what value can be added to the gentleman? Because I like to be present. I like to be with you guys. It's not just something that I like to pre-plan and just come here and just be like, I had this presentation all planned out, guys. I like to just show up for my lions, and that's the whole point. And I was sitting there, and as I was sitting there, JC was sitting there with me. He was doing some computer work, mastermind over there, and he gets up and he jumps over and he walks outside for a sales call. And this lady comes and sits down next to me. She comes down, right? She's an older lady, and she looks in. And she said, "Oh, do you mind? It's this season." I was like, "Of course, absolutely." I opened up, I grabbed her chair, let her in, sit down. Perfect. We started chatting a little bit. She's like, "Oh, like, who was that guy that was there next to you?" And I was like, "Oh, that's my employee. Like, that's my guy, JC, right? He works for me." He's like, "Oh," she's like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I was like, "Well, long story short, I help people own their worth and optimize their life." She's like, "Huh?" She's like, "How do you do that? Wow, that sounds so cool." And I was like, "Well, I do that through workshops. I do that through coaching. I do that through different mediums. But at the end of the day, that's the true result that I give my clients." She's like, "Wow." I was like, "What do you do?" She's like, "Well, I'm a professor." And I was like, "Oh, where?" And she's like, "At the University of California. I'm just here for the weekend because I'm here just, at a conference just down the street at Marriott." And I was like, "Ah, awesome." And as we started to get, what was her name? Bernetta, actually. As I started to understand a little bit more about Bernetta, we started to talk a little bit about leadership. And I was kind of plucking her brain a little bit. And I was just like, being a speaker and instructor, what do you see? And she's like, "Well, look, people are like, these college students are this, and she automatically went into the negatives. Now, I'm going to make that a point blank first suggestion. Very interesting to see how somebody starts a conversation. What are we talking about? People, events, things, ideas? But what happened there was she went to a negative. "Oh, yeah, college students and this and this." And I was like, "Yeah, employees. Employees are kind of the same as students, aren't they? You got to manage them. You got to understand them. You got to make sure that they're doing what they need to be doing on time, on track. You're micromanaging them half the time." And I was like, I got you." She's like, "Yeah, but you got to start understanding, like, students, you got to be able to check their track records. So what I do is I go into the back end and I look at their track records. And I understand that if they've ever had disciplinary actions and if they've everything, that tells me a lot about that person. And I sat there and I thought about that. And I was like, track record. I just wonder if the education system was designed for what it actually needed to do, why would we be judging on people's mistakes and thought patterns of misjudgment versus being able to truly harness their power? And this conversation went deeper and deeper. And guess what happened to the final result of it? The final result was understanding the world that we live in now, gentlemen. The world is designed for us to just be corporate fucking robots. It's designed for people to put us in boxes based on decisions. If people had looked at me with the decisions of being a high school dropout, of landing my ass in jail at 17 years old, of thinking about the bad decisions I was making in the bad crowds, there's no way anybody would have took me seriously in my life. They would have said, wow, you just went down the wrong path. You failed. You had a little bit of money that your dad gave you and you pissed it all away and there you are, done. So if we can now judge people on their future based on their past, I ask you, last week, I said it specifically, most of us, even on this call and those that are going to watch this recording, are letting our past dictate our future. We are making decisions about what we think we have done in terms of patterns and behaviors in the past, and it loses our confidence as fucking men and lions that we actually need to hold up to right now in the present. We think back in the day, I tried to do that and it didn't work. Back in the day, I trusted that guy and it fucking, my business went to shit. I trusted that woman and my marriage went to, we're holding on to this emotional weight. But as my mentor, Richard Dolan, always taught me, it's not the weight you carry, it's the way you carry it. For those of you that are writing notes, I want you to write that one down. It's not the weight you carry, it's the way you carry it. Now, this is interesting because I just took myself even off track right now because I want to just change up the game here for a second. Most people don't even know the art of disassociation. Like when we're in this mindset where it's like, yo, Jay, that's easy to say. Like, I don't let my past control my future. Okay, fair enough. If I could easily do that, I wouldn't have to think so emotionally and I wouldn't have to think in my head at 2 a.m. and never let anybody into my fucking mind because I'm a strong, male, independent man and I don't fucking need anybody's help. And we're constantly inside this battle and we're doing this every single day. But most of us don't actually know what it takes independently, individually, without any help to be able to understand the art of disassociation. Because gentlemen, when you start to go into the brain and you start to understand the layers of the brain, you start to understand that I'm in beta level right now. And in alpha level, I go into my first level of subconscious. And then in theta, I go to my next level of subconscious. And then by delta, I'm at 5 to 9 hertz of brain frequency and I'm asleep in dreamland. When we start to understand that our brain is very powerful and how we program it is even more powerful, is why we need to understand that lion versus sheep mentality. Lion versus sheep mentality is the only difference. The only difference between those is the willingness to understand who the fuck you are. In our world as humans, we aren't animals. We are not a lion or a sheep, but we have mentality the same way that a sheep walks about its day and how a lion walks about its day. You see, a lion isn't the fastest or the strongest or even the biggest animal. The lion is the most fierce and the most fearless, which makes it the king of the kingdom, king of the jungle. Whereas in the sheep, likes to just kind of get by, likes to be heard, likes to understand the box that we may put in, which is fair enough because it's a comfortable life. It's a good life. The farmer feeds you. You're set up. You go to sleep. And you get to wake back up and do the same fucking thing. It's like, you know what? It's okay. It's comfortable. I'm not saying it's the worst thing. Most of us are like, yo, shit, but I'm in a really shit situation, man. I'm broke as fucking. I have no money in my pocket and I don't know what to do. Fair enough. Fair enough. You just may be a little bit of a weaker sheep within the pack. But the mindset still of a broke mindset is a broke mindset. You know, they did a study with sheep. They did a study with sheep where they took a herd of sheep and they put them into a fenced area. They put them into a fenced area. They brought like 100 sheep and they put them into, every day they would bring them into this fenced area and they would shut the gate. Shut the gate, shut the gate, shut the gate. Every day, every day, every day, every day. Boom. Then all of a sudden, they did it for a series of days and they're like, okay, we're going to leave the gate. We're going to get rid of the fence. So they got rid of the fence around and they still have the gate. And they herded the sheep and they opened up the gate and the sheep went into the thing and they formed the freaking box. They formed the box without the fence on the outside because that's what they were conditioned to do. That is where our world is going without the powerful men to be able to understand that leadership is not a dying breed anymore. We need more powerful men and lions that I see on the call right now, the kings in the making right now, to be able to understand how we can be respectful, how we can honor our families, how we can build businesses, how we can be the truest leaders that we need to be. When I talk about disassociation, I'm talking lion thinking is level 3. I'm gonna break this down for you guys. I'm gonna give you guys some insights on some real disassociation, because disassociation is an NLP term. For those of you that don't know, that NLP is what I have a very, very strong background in. I'm a master level NLP, and it comes down to neuro-linguistic programming. Neuro is the brain, linguistic is the way you speak, and programming is how you program your mind based on the way you speak. So when I talk to you about these fundamentals, I want to give you guys tactics. I want to be able to understand. Actually, funny enough, I was on a call with my coach today, my NLP coach. He's been my coach for 8 years. We were on a call today, and we had the most mind-boggling transformation, because he's just like, Jay, everything you just said right now was, and I was practicing a certain sequence of words and everything like that. He's like, everything you just said is perfect except for this one word. We removed one word because of words like but and however can be placed in certain ways. But long story short about that, always have a coach. As a side note, always have a coach. Always have a coach, especially at the desired result that you need to, because a coach will get you from A to B. A mentor is just designed to help give you the guidance. I want to provide guidance here on this call, because that's the only thing that I'm designed to do, is to jump on here and to look at the lions, looking at my brothers on this call, to be able to infuse the brotherhood between us, to be able to bring the energy between men to stand up and be strong for one another. So disassociation from a mental level, from an NLP level, you know, just think of it like this. You know, I see guys driving on the, Keyshawn's probably driving right now. How many times, gentlemen, how many times have we been driving down the highway? You know, we're flying down the highway, and then all of a sudden someone comes and cuts us off, and we almost like mess up. And we're like, man, I'm fucking pissed. Are you kidding me? This fucking jackass in an Audi R8 with a J10X license plate just came in front of me and fucking tried to cut me off right now. Are you kidding me right now? You're pissed off. But what happens, gentlemen, especially for us men, is we let anger and emotions heighten very quickly. So we get into that level 1 thinking. Level 1 is that version of you that's in the driver's seat. That's that version of you going like, yo, fuck this guy, man. Fuck this guy. Are you kidding me right now? This guy trying to cut me off and whatnot. I could have crashed. I could have done. When we start to understand disassociation, we start to now open up levels. The second level of your thought pattern, from going from an anger state of mind now, is to sitting in the passenger seat. That's the version of you that's sitting in the passenger seat that's going, whoa, 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 relax, relax. We didn't crash. What are we going to do? Call the cops? Are we going to crash into him? Like, I got a little beautiful baby boy at home, right, Kyle? Like, I don't need to be doing anything right now. Like, I just want to get home safe, and I just want to live my life, man. Like, I'm good. And see, what is the problem here is that every single day when we're making these conscious emotional decisions, we're going between level 1 and 2. Level 1, I'm so pissed off. Fuck this guy. What the fuck, man? Level 2, but like, come on, I got to go back to home to my family. I'm completely fine. We're doing this teeter-totter inside of our minds Over 5,000 thoughts we have in a day. Think about that. Now, getting to line mentality, getting to level 3 thinking now is the version of you that's now sitting in the back seat. That version of you that's sitting in the back seat going, look at Tweedledee trying to explain to Tweedledum that we're angry right now. What does that even mean? You see, getting to that third level is the hardest thing to do. But once you get there, it becomes quite silly. It becomes quite silly to put your hands up in the back seat like this and be like, what is this guy trying? What is the front seat? What's the front of the vehicle trying to do right now? The front of the vehicle, one's trying to, nah. We got so many better things to think about. We need to get back to business. We need to get back to reality. And where we men fail a lot of the time is that we don't know when to have that emotional balance. What we do is usually bottle it up. Fuck it, it's all good. I'll just leave it alone and just have a drink and forget about it. I'll just pretend it never happened. I'm good with my emotions. Rub some dirt in it. Be a man. I'm good. Never gonna exploit. But what that does, that's unfortunate for us, is it doesn't allow us to truly open our bandwidth the right way to roar. To truly roar, to feel and to be able to express. Now, why we don't do this is because we simply don't know how to communicate it. It's hard. Half the time we try to express it, man. I was trying to express to my girl, a couple of weeks ago. I was trying to express her that I just wasn't feeling good. And it was kind of like weird because I was like, no, I can't. Like, I kind of got to be a man. It was instinctive. But then I was like, no, I'm the biggest baby when I get sick. Fair enough. Because us men are. We are. We have the pros and we have the cons. And the thing is about it is that when you look at now the thought patterns that are happening, when we look at the highway example of being in level 1, 2, or 3, I want you to understand and ask yourself this. When you feel heightened in emotions, remember the 7 common emotions? 7 common emotions. 1 is positive. Joy is the only positive emotion that we experience. Fear, sadness, anger, contempt, surprise, and disgust. Those are the other 6 emotions that are killing us, brutally hitting us every single day. So when those 6 emotions are hitting you, gentlemen, I want you to just quickly get yourself in a reset, recheck. Am I in level 1, 2, or 3? Where am I speaking from? Am I speaking from level 1? Am I speaking from level 2? Or am I speaking from level 3? Because you're going to have a narrative. You're going to have a voice. You're going to have 450 words per minute processing in your mind. And if you're a speaker like me, you can only get about 200 and 250 at maximum capacity. So even when I speak this and I say this out loud, I'm still having 200 words per minute in my mind that are consistently going through, looking at you guys, figuring out what I'm going to say next and all the other stuff that comes out with communication. So when we know this and we can understand these fundamentals, gentlemen, this is where we need to apply this on our day-to-day. When we get upset, when we get angry, when we get frustrated that the business ain't going the way that it needs to, and you're not making the money that you want to, and you're not satisfied or you're not fulfilled. Most of my recent clients, have really come in an aspect of money isn't the problem. It's like, dude, like Jay, like I'm making the money, but it's just like, I can't keep myself focused on my purpose, my potential, like where I need to actually go. Like I make too much money on this side, but like I need to now figure out, how do I align myself as a man? Like, how do I take my family and in my life work balance? And I hate that life work balance bullshit because that stuff doesn't make sense. You can't do that. Now I work with my woman. She's head of operations of my companies. So it's an interesting dynamic to see her day and night and be able to work and play and personal and professional. But at the end of the day, it comes down to my emotional control as a man to be able to handle that. Because that's a hard thing to do, to be able to see someone like that frequently and be able to mix business and pleasure, but there's no chance of work life being separated. And even if you don't work with your spouse, if you don't work with your significant other, it's still hard to balance. How do I spend time at home? Do I do like hours and then this, but like I got to still focus on the business and then but guess what? time optimization with perfect calendar management. You know, Kyle, you'll know this, man. Like Richie, the way he taught us, like, look at your calendar. Like, look at your calendar. Look at how you are managing those 24 hours in a day. Look at how you're managing those 1,440 minutes. Look at how you are managing those 86,400 seconds in a day. And then once you get good at that, the next level to that is now, it's not about the time management now. Like I map out my sleep, my team, all my team is responsible. They map out their prayer zones. They map out their sleep zones. They map out, JC's shaking his head. He knows how crazy I am about schedules. But outside of that, how are you actually now dealing with the bandwidth? The bandwidth within that time now. Today we were doing some I just hired a new CMO, and he's an incredible man. He was the manager to Gary Cardone, and Greg, he's an incredible man. And I just hired him. And today was his onboarding day, and he came in, and most of there was about a 2-hour period in today's day where we were just doing strategy. We were just doing strategy, masterminding, podcasts, locking in everything. But after 2 hours, I was like, whew, like I felt tired. I'm like, usually like I can go, like, you know, it's like, whew. You know, even today, like it was a lot, because the thing is that mind takes power. Chess players on average can burn up to 6,000 calories. 6,000 calories in a chess game, doing nothing. And Kyle's like, I just want to bring you Kyle, because Kyle's a fitness, he's like Mr. Olympia, honestly. And it's like, that's a crazy, right? Like, how do you do that? Like mentally, right? Mentally, exactly how you do that. You mentally. And that much emotional weight that we hold on to, the baggage that we hold on to as men specifically, is what's holding us back from each and every single day of performing 1% better. Because that's all we need. That's all we need. And it's a competitive ass world nowadays. These women, they don't just expect like, this guy, he's the most amazing romantic guy in the world. Wow, I'm going to go live in a shoebox with him. You find one of those, that's incredible. That's called a unicorn. These women are expecting certain things. They're understanding certain things, but you should not just be relying on women being expecting things. You should be relying on expecting things for yourself. Taking control of yourself mentally first, physically, and then financially. And it comes in that order. Most of us don't focus on the mental and physical. I never focused on the physical for a lot of my life. I'll be straight with you guys. I spent a lot of time making a lot of money and focusing on my mental health and focusing on my personal development and doing everything. But I spent not a lot of time focusing on my physicality. I just used to get away with it. Wear t-shirts and wear things not at the pool and being embarrassed about my body and taking my shirt off and doing all this stuff and just in that shy sheep fucking mentality. Until I realized that, look, it's actually my duty. It's not even my choice anymore. It's not my choice to be like, I think I should have a nice body. I think I should go make money. It's my fucking duty every single morning to provide and protect my next generation. Right now, it just may be a wife and a dog, but one day it will be a baby boy, a baby girl that eventually will grow older and then have a baby girl or a baby boy. And when we start to think of this from a legacy standpoint, we start thinking about this from a long-term perspective, it starts to get us to understand why we show up. Right? People are talking about this whole why. It's not what you do. It's not how you do. It's why you do. I got you. Why? So why do you get up? What makes you get up? Sure, I'm assuming it's money, but this why question, they don't lead anywhere. For those salespeople in the room, I'm going to teach you right now. Salespeople right here, stop asking those whys. I just got to get to the deeper pain point. Why? Why do you feel that? And why do you want more? Why? No, start asking what's and hows. Start asking the what's and hows. See, I can ask you right now and I can say, why do you want to make money? Well, I want to make money because, when I grew up and, I didn't have a lot. So I want to be able to make sure that I can afford enough so I can give back to to the people. And he says, why do you want to do that? Because, again, I was scarce and now I'm getting into a story. But if I say, what would money do for you today? Well, money would get me a better house and a nicer car. Okay, cool. And how would that make you feel? Well, that would make me feel actually a lot more powerful and secure. Okay. And if you were powerful and secure, what would that do for you? Well, that would position me well, and I could really, have the confidence that I want, and I could really, be able to dominate the game of business that I'm in. Okay, so and if you could do that, how would that make you feel? Well, that would make me feel incredible. I would be on top of the world. I'd be connecting with the right people, and I'd be doing what I need to, and I'd be scaling my business, and I would be running my family. Okay, and what would that do for you? Well, that would position me right to being able to scale my business now and be able to, you see, I'm getting more pinpointed with the what and the how questions. You see, when you ask people why, there's going to be stories for days. Everyone's going to want stories. And salespeople will come to you and be like, no, 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 you want to let them talk. You want to let them talk about their shit. You want to let them talk about this. No, you don't. You don't want people to just sit there and talk to you. If you have an objective for sales, first and foremost, you got to go in for what you need to go in for. But communication, again, is the ultimate result beyond this. And the way that you're thinking mentally every single moment and how you're controlling those emotions every single moment is what makes people successful and what makes people losers. That simple. The way that you can control your thoughts and the emotional resilience that you have towards them, especially when the 6-to-1 ratio is against you every single day, is the way you wake up and show up. The integrity level that you have, knowing that nobody's watching. Like my man Kyle on the call. I want to give my man Kyle the respect. I don't even know the days. I know it's over 1,000, something like that. But something like that, more than that, I want to get him to come in and chime in on that. Like this man over 1,000 days. No, it's been like 5 years. Actually, you're right. It's been like 5 years. I remember him starting it. He's like, I'm going to go to the gym every single day. He said it. I'm going to go to the gym every single day. Since then, that's why I'm telling you 1,000. When I'm saying 1,000, 1,500, whatever the number, 1,600 is the number, that means every single day. Now, that's not only a commitment in yourself, but that's a commitment mentally to understand the resilience that you're able to handle and take on. Now, if more men were to able to take on that example and actually show up for themselves from a physicality level like that, imagine where your business would transform to. Imagine where your personal would transform to. Now, enough said, gentlemen. I always want to make sure that, when we clock it off at about the 30-minute mark, I always want to make sure that I always say that it's not my call. This call is a place that I love to house. I love to create the safe haven for men all over the world to be able to come together and to be able to chime in, to be able to speak your truth, to be able to listen to myself and my experiences, of course, but to really connect with one another. So I want to open it up to some Q&A. I want to really be able to, not even Q&A, I want to change this momentum. If you have a thought, if you want to just share something, if something stuck out at you, maybe it's completely off topic. Utilize this platform as a way for you to be able to showcase your skill set of being able to speak, to get better at it. When I was 21 years old and I was so freaking scared of speaking, so scared, I would literally go to the RAIN rooms, Real Estate Investment Network. That's where I met Kyle, actually. I used to go to those rooms in Calgary, Alberta, the Red and White Club, and I would sit in the back of the room and I would take notes and I would watch the speakers. And then I saw Richard Dolan for the first time and I was like, whoa. That man knows how to speak. One day I'll be able to speak like that. I was so fearful. They would say, okay, break, go network with each other. I had multi-million-dollar investors in front of me at 21 years old. I'd run out the room. I'd go start my Range Rover and I'd drive away because I was so fearful of it. The only way I got better was by doing it. The more you speak, the more you speak. Don't just look at me and be like, wow, he's so gifted with speaking. I was not like this. It took me time and energy to push past the judgment, the ego, the fear of holding me back, of expressing myself, uncaging my roar, and actually being able to deliver the message that I want to deliver. This is why we show up every single Lions Den, every single week. Y'all got me fired up. Y'all got me pumped up. Kyle makes me want to go to the gym every single time I look at him. So I'm just like getting more and more fired up. But thank you, gentlemen, for showing up today and every single week that you do. Thank you for showing up for yourselves. Thank you for showing up for the Lions on the call. And God bless you, your amazing families, and the businesses that you strive for. I will see you guys next week, 8 p.m. on the Lions Den. Take care.